one of the things that I've noticed is, it seems like Canada's just eating our lunch when it comes to advocating and promoting the skilled trades versus what the U.S. is doing. And we talked about this in our season 2 opener. Is it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of urgency down in the U.S. from congressional leadership or just any government leadership. It just seems like there's all these huge notions of renewable energy and doing all this massive infrastructure investment and wanting to do all these major capital projects, which is great because we do need that, and our infrastructure is definitely taken a beating over the years. But I mean, there's just nobody that's doing it. Like, we don't have enough people that's going to be able to actually do that work. And the people that need to be backfilling all the retirements, they're not coming into it. But for all of the effort and all of the advocacy that goes on to all of these major projects, there just doesn't seem to be the labor push behind that. Now, as we've been doing this over the last year, one of the things I've noticed is just Canada's it's just everywhere. And in terms of advocacy and groups and getting involved and being vocal about it and creating the marketing and creating the media push that is getting more people aware of what these opportunities are.
Yeah, I think you made an excellent point. I've actually looked around myself, and I'm kind of shocked at the lack of push on your side of things in the States when it comes to rectifying this issue that we're facing. It's a historic labor issue that I don't think we've ever seen. I know I've definitely never seen it in my lifetime. But here in Ontario, I would say that we're leaders in that. That boils down to our Minister of Labor, Monty McNaughton, who is actually standing behind what he's saying. He's not just a suit and a role, spouting a few words. He's actually rolled his sleeves up, and he's gotten knee deep in it to promote those trades, to provide the funding for different organizations to offer programs. He's reformed our apprenticeship system. He's pushed for immigration changes here in Ontario to bring skilled workers into this province. And he just seems genuinely engaged, and he cares about solving this issue, and he's doing a heck of a job, I gotta say.
Can you talk about the apprenticeship reform? That's a really interesting point there.
Well, the way it used to be here in Ontario under the old system was for every 3 journey persons, we're allowed to have 1 apprentice. And that's a tough sell when you're trying to recruit labor, especially young people to come into the trades. In order to require that many journey people to bring those many apprentices in, it's not sustainable. Financially, it's hard on an employer to employ 3 journey people to 1 apprentice. And with the rate of people that are retiring out of the trades over the next several years, we're starting to see that 3-to-1 ratios they'll never add up. So one of the very first things that Monty McNaughton did when he took over in his role, he changed that to a 1-to-1 ratio, which has helped incredibly in order to recruit more talent to the trades. I still think there could be a little more. I think it could be a 1-to-2 ratio where you have 2 apprentices to one journey person, but it's a heck of a start. And I think our apprenticeship centers are starting to finally climb, which is great, right? So that was one of the key things that he did when it came to apprenticeship reform. He's also brought in so many new grants for young workers, especially for young women entering the trades. There are more grants for young women coming into the trades right now than there are young men. But that is in order to boost that lack of diversity in our trades.
Now, are the grants to help with educational expenses for some of the vocational programs?
They're for tools. They're bonuses for when you complete your levels of education. So here in Ontario, when you go through your apprenticeship, it's 5 years typically to complete your apprenticeship, but you have 3 terms of schooling in there. And after each term of schooling, you get a grant from the government if you're successful in your term of school. So for men, I think it's $1,000 per term. But when it comes to women, I could be mistaken, but it's $2,000 if I'm correct. It's $2,000 per term. So it's a significant bump in order to draw more women into our trades.
No, that's actually a great idea. I mean, when you hear a lot of social programs down here, whether it be like universal basic income or just other things that are trying to stimulate people to have some money to just live. And I'm not going to get into the whole socialism thing and all of that. But when you're talking about trying to put together the use of federal dollars or even state funding to try to get more people in, I mean, these programs are that's actually a great idea to be able to incentivize young people to have little financial bumps along the way to be able to reach each of these next steps. I don't know, I
Mhm.
don't know what the regulations are in the US versus, how it is versus Canada, but anything that can just financially incentivize anybody to get to the next part in their life, I mean, that's kind of a hard thing to turn down.
It is, and like I remember coming through as an apprentice. This is when I first came through as an apprentice, is when we introduced this grant for when you pass schooling. And I tell you, coming out of unemployment at the time, well, because while we're in school here, we go on unemployment, so you make a little bit of money, but that extra boost at the end of school is phenomenal. And one of the other things that he changed recently, what Monty McNaught changed recently was under our old program, we used to have a loan for tools program. So you could sign up through a a provincial program, and you would get $400 sent to you, and you had to pay that back when you became licensed. That's been scrapped now, and now it's a grant for tools. So you can get upwards to, I think it's $1,000 as a startup to buy your tools, getting into the trade, and that's a huge boost to any young person who's making the minimum wage that we're making as
Sure.
apprentices when we start, to be able to hit the ground running like that.